The setting of Colucci's performance of a purse snatching for Romero Cinema and Hammer Films was Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. That's where I was sitting at a distance watching this thing happen. So it's clear that the Union was involved in the extermination of children. The Union was involved in the extermination of children, and that's perfectly clear. The attempts I made to escape were overwhelmed and overpowered by brute force. So I settled down and tried to not participate. A good example of that was when the Ford brothers, who were in the police department loop, their father was in the police department. They're the ones who signed me up for a Social Security card number in 1984. Stole from a woman who recognized me as standing by the door and asked me what I knew about it. And I said, I know where your purse is. I can get it back for you. And she said, would you come to the police department and tell them who these men were and why they did it? I said, certainly, I'll be happy to. And I went to the police department and identified the perpetrators. This was the sort of thing that was going on when I cried and cried and cried and my fingernails bloody that I was going to be killed by these men and then disappeared for weeks. No one looked into it. However, I had taken to hiding in the towel closet despite the great danger that I was in. When Dr. Marshall asked me if I knew what had become of the tape recorders that the school had, I said Saul Brecker has them without any hesitation. Word got back to Lou Brecker the last time I saw him. He told me that he knew it was me who had snitched. So we have these tape recorders of the school and a hostage who was cooperating with the police department, who Pope Carl declares must pay for Bryn Mawr letters from the magistrate in Allegheny County. Because Louis Lapham says, I could have understood him. I was president of the United States after all, at the age of 9 years old, which, by the way, made Michael Reagan's favorite picture worth more than peas poured stuck in a pot. So Louis Lapham is culpable in child pornography. He was an advocate for it. There's a lot of things that determine the nature of Carl's syndicate. Now, we know from the cinema records that these people had planned an apocalypse. They planned to film the end of the world. That's what they're doing. That's what this is about. And we know that the nincompoops in Congress have shuffled their feet and looked at their toes and refused to address the problem. They keep saying something's missing, something's missing. What's missing? This is their commitment to protecting the public. There's a lot of issues that could be raised. For example, if we know for a fact that the Ohio State Police were cooperating with Bernard Watmaker in the use of drugs for creation of subject matter, what the hell are we doing not looking into the psilocybin that was in Mackenzie Shirley's car? So smug about it being on the whereabouts of a 17-year-old in distress. So we know the UN was involved in the extermination of children. We know the letters apparently originated back in the USSR with the help of the British royalists. They chose a symbolic American and took the Pope Carl path of pinning the tail on the donkey through what Penis Gabriel called the mysterious leak at the seam, the credibility gap of a child who's been punished for trying to do right by those who talk to him. And that snipe, Penis Gabriel, what did you mean when you opened your mouth? Let all our secrets out. Playing conscious irony when he was a villain. All that time I was trying to convince Robert Fripp and his sister that the Pittmans were what they were. Murderers who had taken me hostage. I thought it was their bad judgment. They were in on it. That's why that picture of Fripp at 23 looks so much like Tive. Because they were Grangan archetypes of one another. They called the animated film about the children of Hiroshima, Graveyard of the Fireflies. Greg wanted to get even for those fireflies. Fireflies don't have souls. After all, he can hit them with a wiffle ball bat. Well, neither do humanists, do they, Pope Carl? You can snivel up an apocalypse to make them fight for you, make them perform for you. It's Knights of the Resignation. Ain't that something? And they hid that they knew. They hid that they knew. So they could make a pompous network of argumentation. Casino alchemy, they called it. A pompous network of argumentation. When all that was needed was a little bit of friendly advice and half-decent spirit of civics and guidance. I hope Robert Kennedy is up to the job, but I bear witness to his uncle's claim that he knew the difference between the state and the church and was bound as an executive to the separation, whatever his sentiments may have been. There's no excuse for Pope Carl's reign of deliberate oblivion. I have asked since 1993, when I became wise of what they did, that Pope Carl be brought to justice. But Paul McCartney said he's my guy. They used Greg Starr Cynic for Ringo Starr cynicism and arsenic and old lace. And Peter Gabriel just spun whatever story his fat head wanted to spin. Lie after cowardly lie.